Welcome back to the show. Attorney General Leticia James just ordered Manhattan's Langone Hospital to resume gender-affirming care for trans youth. I am going to read this first, and then I'm going to talk about it. So stick around, and before I get started, be a doll, hit the like button. This is from the Associated Press. It says, New York Attorney General Leticia James is ordering one of Manhattan's largest hospitals to resume providing gender-affirming care to trans youth weeks after the hospital ended such treatments amid funding threats from the federal government. James's office promised further action if the hospital does not immediately resume offering hormone therapies, puberty blockers, and other care to trans youth. One of the city's largest hospital systems, NYU Langone, announced last month that it would phase out certain gender-affirming treatments for patients under 19 because of the current regulatory environment and recent departure of a medical director. The move came weeks after the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services announced a proposal to cut federal Medicaid and Medicare funding to hospitals that provide gender-affirming care to minors, part of a suite of regulatory actions targeting trans Americans. The sudden discontinuation of medically necessary trans health care can have severe negative health outcomes. Accordingly, the Attorney General is extremely concerned by your institution's decision to cease the provision of care to this vulnerable minority population. Okay, so really quick, Leticia James, thank you for being rational on this issue. The evidence is clear that gender-affirming care is quite literally life-saving for trans people, particularly trans youth. Currently, we are seeing the largest migration in U.S. history, the trans migration from red states to blue states. Trans children and adults have to flee red states for their own safety and for their own right to medical care. All medical associations in our country support this care, but delusional cultists on the right are obsessed with trans identity. And to go further, they are obsessed with destroying the lives of trans Americans for no other reason than their cult has fed them false information on trans people. We have known for a while now that gender-affirming care is life-saving, which is why it's covered through health insurance in many states, blue states, that is. Trans youth in America are being forced to detransition, forced to go back in the closet, or else they can face daily humiliation, discrimination, and dehumanization. And these are children we are talking about here. So I want to go over some statistics. According to the Human Rights Campaign, 40% of trans youth, so age 13 to 17, currently live in one of the 27 states that have enacted laws or policies limiting youth access to gender-affirming care. More than half of trans youth live in a state with at least one law or policy restricting their rights. Some states, such as Oklahoma, Texas, and South Carolina, have considered banning care for trans people up to 26 years old. These bans go against major medical associations' support of gender-affirming care for trans youth, including the American Medical Association, the American Academy of Pediatrics, and the American Psychological Association. Research has also found gender-affirming care can lead to reductions in suicide, depression, and anxiety, and improvements in mental well-being for trans youth. The author of this literature review found that over 1,400 anti-trans bills have been proposed since 2021, including gender-affirming care, using pronouns, or access to sports teams and bathrooms. These anti-trans laws and beliefs are not rooted in reality. Ripping away health care for children who are already being bullied and mistreated, that means they will not have access to mental health care either. And many trans people rely on mental health services because of the way we are treated by society, and mainly the way we are treated by right-wing cultists that deny reality on gender. And who is guilty of spreading false information and conspiracies on trans people? The very conservatives and Republicans that are banning access to gender-affirming care. Propaganda networks like Fox News will happily push false information and conspiracies on trans people because they are funded by dark interests and politicians that are involved in religious and political cults. They claim that these anti-trans laws are to protect children, but this is exactly what trans kids need protection from. We have a separation of church and state in America. Conservatives are trying to implement their cult beliefs into law, which is against the law. Going forward, we need to demand that our government be held responsible for reckless decisions like this that not only harm trans Americans, but this is seriously harming American children. So thank you guys for listening. Please like this, share this information, get it out there, leave your comments, and subscribe to stay updated on important news like this. I'll be back soon. Bye, guys.